Nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new beginning. Good morning to all. Ignite is a student mentorship program conceived and presented by the 1992 batch of engineering technology alumni present across the globe. Through this event, alumni from across the globe are interacting with the students through online video conferencing and guide the students on the various career options available and how to prepare for them. These interactions are also webcast live on the Annamalai University Alumni Association's YouTube channel and will be available as a ready record for the future generations. Ignite consists of 20 unique sections on various aspects of career buildings and conducted between 1st of February and 26th of February. Today is the 10th section of Ignite and to be addressed by three alumni, Mr. P. Senthil Kumar from Reliance Industry, India J. Kanakasabai from Petroleum Development of Oman, and R. Murugan from Copaco, Qatar, are going to share their views on careers in oil and gas, both in India and the Middle East. First speaker, Mr. P. Senthil Kumar, is from the batch of 1992, Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering. He has more than 25 years of experience in the petrochemical industry, of which he spent 21 years in the field of instrumentation project management, engineering and engineering and maintenance and contract management. Currently, he is working in the area of personal safety, process safety, and risk management. He is currently working as the general manager, Reliance Industry, one of the Vadodara Manufacturing Division, Gujarat. We welcome Mr. P. Senthil Kumar to share his views. Please, sir.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Once again, welcome all of you to this student mentorship program. I'm very happy to connect with all of you after a long gap through this program. It's a great step by our 1988-92, our own batchmates. It is a very good step to connect with the students. My best wishes and congratulations to all of them, especially Mr. Mahendra Kumar, who is our classmate, who is taking a lot of interest and connecting with all of us and spending a lot of his personal time to make it as a grand success. So with this today, I'm going to talk about the career opportunities for engineers in the oil and gas industry in the Indian's perspective. So I'll share my presentation, small presentation I'll share. Then if there are any questions, then we can discuss. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So when we talk about oil and gas, we may be using a number of products. It is everywhere in our life, I can say, from morning to evening, whatever the products we use. Many of them come from the oil and gas as the source. Like if you take the computers we use, mobile phones we use, or the number of medical items, cosmetics, the clothes we wear, the car we drive, or the tires that we use in the car, sports item, music items, you take anything and oil and gas forms a major part in day-to-day life. But we may not be aware about that in the day-to-day life. So today I'll be talking on the overview of the industry, then what are the different roles available for engineers in the oil and gas industry, and then how to get into the industry. So before start, a thought for the day, like concern for man himself and his safety must always form the chief interest of all technical endeavor. So we should never forget this in the midst of our diagrams and the equations. So this should be the purpose of our profession. So coming back to the oil and gas industry, Oil and gas industry has three segments basically. Normally we call it as the upstream, middle stream, and the downstream. So in the upstream, basically this oil and gas, this onshore and offshore platforms, they are falling under the exploration and production category, what we call it as the E&P. Basically, the companies involved in this business, they try to find out new hydrocarbon sources, hydrocarbon fields, oil reservoirs, and they basically drill the oil and gas wells. So that is the upstream industry. And the midstream industries are the companies that are responsible for transporting whatever from the oil field to the refineries. That transportation, either it is oil or natural gas, that transportation is covered by the midstream industries, basically covering the shipping through the ships, pipelines, and the LNG terminals. All these things are covered under the midstream industry. And finally, when we talk about the downstream, basically this refining and petrochemicals are covered under the downstream industries. Most of us are aware, like a refinery, we refine the crude oil to produce final end products like the petrol, diesel, LPG, lubricants, kerosene, jet fuel, heating oil, number of products which are finally, coming to the end users or the customers. They are through the refining industry. And of course, petrochemical also part of that. Like one of the refined material is the naphtha or the gas that is used as a raw material in the petrochemical industry. Petrochemical industry mainly produces polymers and chemicals which are used by the end users. So we can say petroleum is the primary material for a multitude of chemical products used, including the pharmaceuticals, fertilizers, solvents, and plastics, and number of other industries. So I'll just give you a brief idea about where I'm working in the petrochemical industry. So just to share with you a few of the things. In where I work, we have a naphtha cracker plant. Like whatever the naphtha we get from the refinery, that is cracked. And we produce ethylene, propylene, mix C4, pyrolysis gasoline, like the number of products. And from the ethylene, what we produce, we make the end product like LDPE, that is called the low density polyethylene. And the ethylene is also used to produce EDC, ethylene dichloride, from the which we produce the vinyl chloride monomer, that is the VCM, which is the raw material for the PVC. Normally, we use a number of products of PVC. So PVC is also one of our end product. And with ethylene, we also produce ethylene oxide, which is primarily used in a number of industries, including the medical industry. So these are all the products made out of ethylene. And if you talk about propylene, we have a polypropylene plant where this polypropylene is used, including in the automobile industry. So we have PP, polypropylene, and as well as another variant of that, that is PPCP, polypropylene copolymer. That is also high impact polymer. That is also one of our end product. And apart from that, we have polybutadiene rubber. We also make through butadiene polymerization, polybutadiene rubber, which is primarily used in the tire industry to produce the tire. These are all the major polymer segment. And then under the chemical, we have ethylene oxide, as I mentioned. Then we have acrylonitrile, which is the only plant in India which produces acrylonitrile, which is also used for making carbon fiber. Then we have surfactants plants. Normally we use soap and detergents. For that, the raw material is the linear alkyl benzene LAB. So these are all the various products we are producing as a part of the petrochemical industry. So coming to the role of chemical engineers, like process engineers or the production engineers, we call it in our day-to-day, these chemical engineers, they are responsible for the operation and production of desired products. Whatever the products I mentioned, the chemical engineers operate these plants and they produce the chemicals. So they are also responsible for the process monitoring and control and the process safety management. Chemical engineers, after a few years of operational experience, they can move to the technical services role, where they will be providing technical support to the plant operations team by monitoring the quality, analyzing the deviations, and proposing some improvement ideas. They can also be part of the benchmarking initiatives on a global scale, as well as they are involved in the risk studies like process hazard analysis or the hazard and operability studies, like number of risk studies are done. They can also be part of the energy efficient initiatives, so energy management initiatives. So that role is, so normally we consider the chemical engineers who are in the plant operation as the asset owners or the plant owners. And they coordinate the maintenance activities with the other discipline engineers. Coming to the role of the mechanical engineers, again, mechanical engineers have a wide variety of roles to play. Either that can be part of the day-to-day plant maintenance activities for carrying out the day-to-day plant maintenance activities through planning, or they can be part of the central engineering services. In the central engineering services, they can be part of the corrosion and inspection wing, which is normally taking care of the static equipment, integrity of the or the healthiness of the static equipments, and rotary equipment. As I mentioned, to support our plant, primary plants, we also have gas turbine power plants within our company. So they can be number of rotary equipments, as well as in the plants we have high capacity compressors. So all those things, specialization they can do in the rotary equipment maintenance as well. Then coming to the planning, planning engineers, as a planner, they are involved in the day-to-day planning of the activities across the complex, or during major shutdown planning also done by these engineers, and of course material requirements including spares and contract manpower planning. All these are done by the planning engineers. We also have a heavy equipment section where we own heavy equipments like cranes. So for day-to-day maintenance activities, lifting and shifting sort of activities, these heavy equipments are used, and engineers can be part of that also. Then coming to the mechanical workshop, we have a very big mechanical workshops where lathes and other equipments are available, as well as some testing facilities are available, specialized welding machines are available. So all those things are part of the mechanical workshop where these mechanical engineers can play a role. Apart from that, we have a design and modification cell, or the minor project cell. Whenever we do any small projects which can be managed with the internal resources, these people will be part of that, where they are responsible for the preparation of the drawings, bill of materials, cost estimate, and execution of the job. As well as we have the fabrication group, which is carry out the equipment fabrication as well. So as mechanical engineers have a wide role to play in the industry. Coming to the electrical engineers, yes, they are a part of the electrical systems maintenance in the plant. As I said, we have our own power generation and distribution network, as well as in the plant, we will be having a number of motors, lighting, emergency lighting. So all those things are maintained by the plant maintenance group. And in the central group, we have the reliability engineers and the power systems engineers for specific equipments like UPS and all. So they can be part of these teams also. Instrument engineers, again, instrument play a vital role in the oil and gas industry. The main purpose, of course, is the process measurement and control. All the field sensors to the control room, distributed control systems and programmable logic controllers and emergency shutdown systems. All those things are part of the instrument wing, and so they are responsible for those process measurement and control instrumentation. Then as the industry is more of a hazardous nature, any leak or fire needs to be detected immediately. So for that, we have a very exhaustive fire and gas detection and measurement system. So the maintenance and upkeep of those systems. And apart from that, whatever the machine monitoring systems I have mentioned for the bigger machineries, rotating equipments. So these are all part of the plant maintenance activities. Again, at the central level, we will be having a reliability group for specific areas. Also, analytical instrumentation. Analytical instrumentation is mainly we have our own internal quality assurance departments where we use a number of laboratory instrumentation. So again, they play a vital role there. And of course, we have our DCS PLC trained engineers, then safety instrumented systems where the safety integrity level studies are done by these engineers. Then they can be part of the advanced process control APC control systems. Like these are all the various areas one can work in the instrumentation discipline. Of course, civil engineers are also there, though the number are less in our place. They can be part of the day-to-day plant support for any maintenance activity in the plant, or during the construction or new equipment, they play a vital role. We have a central group, and these civil engineers are part of the central group. So as I said, maintenance is one of the major activity by the mechanical, electrical, instrumentation, and civil engineers. So on the day-to-day basis, they will be doing a lot of preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, condition monitoring maintenance, basically to ensure that all the equipments, whether it is with respect to the integrity, that is the containment point of view, or with respect to the functionality, they perform their intended function. That is the major role of the engineers in the day-to-day maintenance. So this we have discussed. Of course, we can be, after a few years of experience, we can move to procurement and contracts also. We need to interact with a lot of OEMs, licensors, manufacturers for different services on a day-to-day basis. These are all some of the skills required. Of course, all the skills are tested when you are entering into the industry. Of course, here one of the thing is we use a number of softwares like SAP, for the production planning, maintenance planning, and material planning. As well as we use Meridium for root cause analysis purpose, and for safety integrity level study, we use the Exida software. So number of high-level computer technology related softwares are available, which we are using on a day-to-day basis. So coming to the opportunities, if we see the Indian perspective, like one of the thing is the PSUs. We have a number of PSUs involved in the oil and gas sector, like starting from ONGC, Indian Oil Corporation, HPCL, BPCL, Oil India Limited, Gas Authority of India Limited, GAIL, and of course we have number of refineries. In the private sector, we have the major Reliance Industries Limited, Kane India Limited, then SR. So the number of companies are there in the both in the private as well as in the PSU sector. Of course, there are for entry purpose, there are selection process which are different to company like in the some of the companies like IOCL and ONGC, the GATE score is required if you want to join as a graduate engineer trainee. And of course in Reliance, it is done through campus interviews. The first step is normally written test, both aptitude and the technical part, which is done by a third party. Once a screening is done, then there will be a second level of interview panel. Both the technical and HR personnel will be involved in that. So they will be finalizing the recruitment process. So this is all what I wanted to share. If anything is there, I can answer during the question answer session. Thanks a lot. Have a great career ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The second speaker, Mr. J. Kanakasabai, is an alumnus of 1992 batch of Mechanical Engineering who graduate with distinction. After graduating from engineering, he started his career as a trainee in Southern Conveyors, Chennai. From there, he moved on to Esquire Engineers and Consultants, Chennai, as an engineer typing. Then joined DSM Soft Rooted and Petroleum, Jamnagar. Later, he joined Reliance Engineering Associate Assistant Manager Typing, from where he moved on to Fast Engineers Kuwait. Currently, he is the lead mechanical engineer, static, packages, and piping in Petroleum Development of Oman. We are fortunate to have him here among us today, and we request him to share his experience. Please, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Sivashankar, you are able to hear me?
Then joined DSM Software Manager Typing, from where packages and typing in Petros him to share his experience. Please, sir.
Audible, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Mahendra and his team for this excellent opportunity, and I am really honored to speak to the students about the career opportunities in Middle East. I also want to take this opportunity to appreciate Mahendra and their team's initiative to do this, because this is very important for the students as they come out of the university. I remember my days when we came out, we were really struggling to know where to go, what to do, So it's an excellent initiative, and I really request all the students to take this opportunity, utilize this. Information is wealth. So take this opportunity to make use of it. Right. Now, I was asked to talk about career opportunities in oil and gas industry in Middle East. So before really going into that, I really wanted to give an overview of oil and gas industry. Our friend Mr. Senthil gave a good presentation on that. So I'll touch upon certain points and specifics to Middle East on the oil and gas industry and various opportunities. So I'll just share a presentation. Is it visible? The presentation is visible.
Yes, Abhay, it's visible.
Right. Okay, good. So basically what I would be talking about today is a general introduction on oil and gas projects. And I'll be more concentrating on projects because to tell you about various phases of project and where as engineers we fit into the various phases of project. Talk a little bit about working in Middle East, the advantages, disadvantages, salaries, benefits, and what are the present opportunities in Middle East. How to tap the market, where do you really go in and find the available resources, what are the available resources to know the job market, what sort of an experience is really required to move into Middle East, and what's
yeah. Sabai, sorry to interrupt. Can you make it full screen, please?
Yeah, sure. Right?
Yeah, good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. What is the present status in the Middle East market? That's more important to know, which I'll be covering at the end. And also I want to talk a little bit about being a mechanical engineer. I just want to give a little bit more information or share my experiences on the mechanical engineering part of it. Right. Oil and gas projects. Our friend Mr. Senthil Kumar gave a very nice presentation on a overview of the oil and gas industry. So basically, as he said, oil and gas industry, you could divide this into three. The midstream is there, but I'm just saying that upstream and downstream as a broad category. So when you talk about upstream, it is first thing is an exploration. As we say, you identify the areas of availability of oil, and then you start drilling gas, oil wells. It could be onshore or offshore. Then basically whatever the crude you get out of this is really raw. You cannot use it directly. So this has to be transported to a processing center, which you call here as a gathering centers. These transportation happens in the pipelines. So when it comes to the gathering center, basically the crude, when you consider a crude, it has got three different phases, which is oil, water, and gas. The primary purpose of these gathering centers are mainly separation. So they separate the oil, water, and gas. And a little bit of enhancement is done in the oil, and the oil basically goes for export. As far as the Middle East is concerned, the primary income for these countries are the oil export. So their primary thing is oil export, which is exported. Before exporting, there is a particular quality of crude which is required. The price of crude, when you say in barrels, depends upon the quality of the crude. So there are some mix. Most of these places have got the mixing manifolds where different categories of crudes are mixed together to blend it together to get a particular quality of crude. And of course, before export, you need to have a lot of storage, because you need to have at least 10 days of storage or 15 days of storage, depending upon the capability of the shipping and export. So this forms a major upstream projects. And when you consider the downstream, the gas which is coming out of the gathering centers in the upstream directly goes into the downstream. And also the crude which are exported or bought by different countries, they take it to the downstream refineries, where this is further refined to get various products what we use in a day-to-day life, like petrol, diesel, kerosene, and the final product is a coal, tar or a coal tar, which we use it in road construction. So gas plants, the gas which is coming out of these gathering centers are taken back into the gas plants, where the gas is further enhanced, enriched, and further used as a product for, as a gas for further usage. And also there are various byproducts like sulfur. You get sulfur, you have sulfur recovery units. There are various units within the downstream plants. So, and the water which is coming out of this is most of the times is re-injected back into the surface to push the oil out. And also in certain categories, these are treated and then try to, sort of reuse. So this is a general overview of oil and gas projects. Then I want to talk about the projects. So when you different phases of project. So in oil and gas industry, it's not first thing is it's like a simple example, like what we build a house. It's not that we just think to build a house and tomorrow we start building a house. So it's got the different phases. Like first you go for an approval, you go do a plan, go an approval, then you select a contractor, then you build the house. Similarly, the magnitude of project what we are talking about is huge, in millions and billions of dollars. So first it has got some of these projects. When you talk about a big project, it really spans out around a decade. Say, for example, if I start a project as a concept now, it can go up to 10 years before it is commissioned and then come into the operate phase. So basically, it has got a concept selection wherein once you know the availability of the crude or oil, I identified the locations based on the type of crude, you decide upon the process concept on what are all the units you require, process units you require. So then based on that, and also you decide on the particular area where you want this plant. Then further that is passed on to a next stage called feed, which defines the basic specifications for the requirement of the different equipments. You create a basic plot plan of equipments. You decide upon the electrical instrumentation, control requirements. All the basic requirements are defined in the feed stage. Then it gets awarded to a detail. It goes to the next phase called detailed design and procurement, where more details are put in place. So actually you're going to procure the equipments as per the specifications you have defined in the feed, which is various equipments, instruments, electricals, you name it, everything. So as you procure, you get more details, you put all those details into the design, and you develop all the construction drawings. Then all these goes into the next phase, which is the construction phase, which is physically constructing the plant itself, where whatever procured equipments are delivered to site, it's all installed in place, interconnecting piping are done, then mechanical completion, pre-commissioning. Then you go to the next phase, which is pre-commissioning and commissioning, which is basically you're testing all the installation, whether it is working as intended. Then once the pre-commissioning is done, then you go to the commissioning phase, which is actually you're commissioning it with the crude or gas. Maybe initially you may do it with a sweet crude, and then you may move to a sour process. Past the above phases, you go into the project is closed out. Then the plant is handed over to the operation, who take over and run the plant for the next 25 years or 30 years. Yeah, that's where all the rest of the teams come and play. Maintenance and rest of it come in. Right. Now we are seeing what is oil and gas project and what is a project. Yeah. Next we'll see where we as engineers fit in, irrespective of whatever discipline, chemical engineers, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation, civil. So where do we really fit in? So I'm going to talk about the various stakeholders who will be involved in the entire life of the oil and gas projects. So, and where we can be really landing in various part of our careers, based on our experience, our other stuff. So the first one is operating companies, like the one which presently I'm working on. And there are various operating companies all throughout the world. So the operating companies, what they do new projects, because they have to, when they identify a new source, they have to do a new project to tap that source and give a finished product as a crude. So this is one area. The next is, once the project is completed, the operation of the plant for the next 25 years, that's where the operation comes in. And there will be a maintenance teams. So to run a plant, you need a maintenance team continuously working on ensuring that the plant is available, reliable, and reliability and availability. Yeah. Then process licenses. There are various process licenses, for sulfur, for refineries, various processes. There are licenses wherein we engineers can make a part. Particularly, these are chemical engineers, process engineers. Then, of course, the operating companies, when they want to do a project, they don't have really the entire manpower to control the EPC contractors. So that's where the project management consultants come in place. So they form part of the clients, which is operating companies, but they manage the EPC contractors in the projects on what they design, what they procure, whether they're doing as per the specification. So all these are being managed by project management consultants. So in Middle East, there are different types. Some of the operating companies do employ engineers to directly manage the EPC contractors, and some companies have project management consultants who really manage the EPC contractors. So whether it's project management consultants or EPC contractors, various phases they go through is detailed design, construction, pre-com, and commissioning. So in various places, all of us as engineers, play a role. Then when you take construction contractors, when it comes to the construction, even though the contracts are of different types, so if you take a EPC contractor, a contractor who is based in Korea or Europe, who has got a project in Middle East, so he may not be able to give a complete manpower supply to do the actual construction. We are talking about 2,000 to 5,000 people during the construction phase. So this is where the local construction contractors come into play. So there are, in Middle East, in each country, there are local construction contractors who come into play in all these major projects, and who supply the manpower, machinery, cranes, you name it. Then there are some specialized subcontractors, because all the construction contractors may not be able to execute every specialized type of work within a project. So that's where a specialized subcontractors come into play, like painting, refractory works, insulation, electrical testing. I just named some of them, but there are many such categories like this, right? Then comes the vendors, where, as a procurement phase, there are vendors in you name it, every category, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation, every category has got vendors, where they got a R&D group, sales, marketing, design, production, and fabrication. And of course, one of the major thing is a field support, which is like what we say, servicing after supply. So then of course, quality control. So we as engineers really fit into various categories which I have talked about. How we fit in and when we fit in is all depends upon, it is again based on our experience, and it's mainly based on our experience. Yeah. So I'll be talking about this when we go back to our other topic on salaries and other stuff. Yeah. Okay. Next, working in Middle East. What are the advantages of working in Middle East? It's good salary, right? The benefits are there. When you talk about salary and benefits, I just want to go back here. The salary could be, it could be in a range of, $2,000 to even 15 to 16,000 US dollars a month, depending upon your experience and the place you land. Yeah. So probably if you are working for an operating company, you get the best benefits, best salary in the market. All your medicals, transportation, your, back home travel, everything is covered. So when you go to the EPC contractors or a PMCs, it's more towards, the benefit starts reducing, the salary starts reducing. And similarly, when you go to the construction contractors, local subcontractors, so it goes down. So it's not the same type of a salary you're going to expect in every category. So it really varies. So it really, as I said, it really depends upon your experience and where you land upon. Yeah. Right. One of the major advantage is a tax-free income. So at this moment, you don't have any tax working in Middle East. You don't need to pay tax in Middle East, and also back in India. So which is a very, I would say, a very attractive. But as I've said in bracket, it is as of today. Things are changing, and it changes every day. So you never know what will happen after maybe 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. Maybe you might have tax here or back in India, you never know. Yeah. Quality of life, yes. Great infrastructures, it's a good place to live, all those. But of course, you will have to go through harsh weathers. It's hot summers, and in some places it's very cold winters. So, and the next point, which I think is very important, better reach back to India when you compare to you are working in US, Canada, Europe, or Australia. So this has got a better reach. You're just back home in India in a couple of hours, maybe maximum 3.5 hours. And there is a lot of connectivity options. I would even say traveling within India, it's much faster than traveling within India. Of course, there is one more advantage, which is subsidized utilities, electricity, water, fuel. These are all subsidized. Again, this is as of today. Things are changing now. Middle East governments are looking at cutting these subsidies. So that's always there. And family life, yes, it's great. It's great to be here. You have you develop a good contact. You have your own community of people wherein you can spend weekends in the deserts, camping. There's a lot of good things to do. Cost of living, yes. Cost of living is a bit high. Your living cost, which is housing, is quite high. So if you land up in a job with the operating company, probably you will be provided with housing as the benefit. But if you land up in a contractor or subcontractor, you may have to spend it from your pocket, which is pretty expensive. As far as a family status, not every job you will get a family status. I would say most of them are single status, but you have an advantage of bringing your family on your own, paying from your pocket. It has got only some minimum salary requirements, which we as engineers will, satisfy. Okay. Looking at the disadvantages, major disadvantages is a very limited career growth as an individual. Most of the times, if you join as a design engineer, probably you'll end up as a design engineer after 8 years or 9 years. It's not like back home, where you have a clear defined career path growth. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, it happens, but it is rare and only in specific cases. The other part is the uncertainty in the job. Most of these jobs are contract type, either it's 2 years or 4 years, maximum 4 years. And every 2 years, your contract will be renewed. The renewal will again depend upon your employer having projects or employer having a continuous job from its client. It has got various, ifs and buts. So you will have to pass through that every 2 years as a contract renewal to know whether you're going to be continuing there or you have to move out to find a new job. But even though I say this, but I've seen very rarely seen people going back after coming to Middle East. Somehow they, you stick to the jobs. Okay. When we talk about opportunities in Middle East, as we earlier said, new projects, existing plant revamps where you have a lot of opportunities, maintenance jobs, shutdown jobs. When you talk about shutdown jobs, these are all short term. It could be a month, 2 month, or a 3 month max. So you could just go only for the shutdown job and come back. And these are so as I said, this could be long term and short term. When you consider a project, you're looking at 3 years, 4 years. And if you're working for an EPC contractor and he has a continuous projects, so you're good enough, you're going to continuously work. If the projects dry out and they don't have projects, then you will have to be demobilized out of the project or out of the company. Then you have to find a new job. So the uncertainty is always there. So the resources where you can find the you know about the various jobs available, new projects coming up. There's a number of them. I just listed some of them, like specific to Middle East, which is Naukri, Gulf, Bait, Indeed. There's plenty of them. But I would stress a lot on LinkedIn. Creating a profile in LinkedIn and getting connected to your seniors of your college or schools, or the reference makes a big difference in the job market in Middle East. When people know what you're capable of and you have a reference, it's much easier to break in, get into a good job. So I always think LinkedIn is a very good resource to get in. Okay, we talk about the experience required. Your opportunity or chance of getting a job in Middle East improves with your experience. Yeah, it's very, I would say, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is very rare for a fresher to come in and join a oil and gas industry job in Middle East, because the training part is more towards locals rather than expats coming in. So I would say a minimum of 3 to 5 years experience is required for you to move down to Middle East and start looking for a job, which is where you will get a decent job with a good salary. But yeah, if you that's my take. I moved to Middle East after 10 years of my experience. So it's always, you come with experience and you wait for a good opportunity and get into a good company, then it's really easy. The present status. Now, most of the Middle Eastern countries are looking into localization, what they call developing the local talents. Yeah. So, which is, I'm not trying to discourage, but I'm just trying to put the facts on. So there is a lot of drive towards developing the local talents and giving preference to the local talent to take up the positions. So things are becoming a bit difficult nowadays. So, but the bottom line is you cannot really do away with the expats, because they are the integral part of the oil and gas industry in Middle East. So because of the specific talents we possess, and which is rare. And so I would advise to just go on, keep learning, keep improving your talents, specific talents, do a lot of courses. And so it's always a, yeah. Finally, I would just want to touch upon the mechanical engineering. So when you come out as a graduate from as a mechanical engineer, what are the opportunities you have in oil and gas industry? So as a mechanical, you look at 3 main categories. I would say fourth one is metallurgy is more of a specialist. So a category which you would do a specific engineering degree. But basic diversification would be static equipments, rotating equipments, and piping. So static equipments are basically the pressure vessels, exchanges, and other designs. So you've got the fabrication shops, the designs, and all the stuff. Rotating equipments are compressors, turbines, pumps, etc. And piping is basically interconnecting piping between all these equipments. Piping is really a vast field. You have I suggest we get into a basic company, as a trainee, get trained in various areas, and then specialize in one of these, either a static or a rotating or a piping. And then think about moving into Middle East, then you have a better opportunities, better way to get in a good job, better job, rather than just going in and joining somewhere where you don't get a good salary. So there are very good resources available. There are a lot of institutes which offer courses on specific on piping. So after finishing engineering, probably just keep looking out for these, enhance yourself with doing these courses. And finally, I wish you all good luck for a great career. And once again, I want to thank Mahendra for his and his team for his initiative. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Third speaker, R. Murugan, fondly called as Mumu by fellow Annamalais, is from the batch of 1992 chemical engineering. He has also completed MBA in finance. He is a chartered engineer from Institute of Engineers, India, and also a member of Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers. Having almost 3 decades of experience in petrochemical manufacturing sector as technical service process engineer. He worked in Speak Petrochemicals, Chennai, Reliance Industries Limited, Azira, before moving on to his current position with Capco, Qatar. We now welcome him to guide us on the career opportunity in oil and gas sector. Please, sir.
Thank you, Ashok. Good morning to everyone. I thank Mahendra and his team for this great opportunity to share my views with budding engineers. It's a time to give back to the university. So, can I share my screen? I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Senthil and Kanaka has touched all points about petrochemical sectors. So I will take with oil, gas, and petrochemicals in Qatar. Basically, my speech will be with general category. I will not touch in the industry related in detail. My first advice to all the budding engineers is never stop learning. You always should continue a learning process even if you are out of college. Mainly in industries, the learning people will excel very well in the industry. Develop your skills in softwares related to your field whenever you get an opportunity, because softwares is going to be the future of the world. Join as a member of professional bodies. Like you have a lot of professional bodies in India, Institution of Engineers, for chemical engineers, for mechanical engineers. We have separate institutes. Join, and because this helps a lot when you are applying for Middle East jobs. Always develop your contacts and grow your network. It helps. You can approach always seniors at any time for any queries. We are always there to help you in any doubts you have about your career opportunities as well as your job health. In softwares, mainly for chemical engineers, I have taken, in softwares you have mathematical modeling, simulation software, piping hydraulics, and instrumentation sizing softwares. In simulation softwares, Hasman is the best, and it is good for all chemical engineers to have a hands-on experience in this software before reaching out to Middle East for getting jobs. This is the best simulation software for you to do your job in the day-to-day life. I want to say something about Qatar. Qatar is one among the leaders in GDP per capita. It is the best country in the Gulf, among the Gulf countries. Wait. Just a minute. I'm trying to. Wait, it's not. I'm not able to see this one. Okay. Qatar is the best among the Gulf countries for engineers with respect to peaceful life, no harassment from locals. Okay, you can have similar environment in Muscat also, but here it is. Job is more safer than compared to other Gulf countries. Family safety is there. Kids education, you can have similar like India. All CBSE schools, a lot of schools are available here. Last but not the least, savings opportunities very good. And also the health support by government is very good. Qatar is going to host the FIFA World Cup 2022. It is going to be the World Cup tournament. So it will come in the world picture in the sports. It is also going to host Asian Games 2030. Already hosted Asian Games in 2006. Qatar is well connected by road to the neighboring countries, Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia. This will help you to take family holidays. Here we have Eid holidays 2 times in the year. It is almost a week where you will be visiting the neighboring countries where your friends are also will be living. All major cities are connected with flights from Qatar. I will take the career opportunities in oil and gas sector for chemical engineers, basically. This, as Senthil and Kanakasabai has told, you have a lot of sectors. If you are entering into a manufacturing sector in Qatar, in Gulf, for any Gulf countries, your job will be more safer when compared to the engineering sector or a trading sector. Because manufacturing sector is dependent on the manufacturing profits of the company. It is not dependent on the customers or clients. So in manufacturing sectors, you have operation engineers, process or technical services. Some minor major projects also will be done by the same operation company. And another two promising field in the chemical engineers in the future is safety and environment. In engineering sector, you can be a design engineer or a technology developer. Then you have project managements. Piping is mostly done by mechanical engineers, but also chemical engineers nowadays taking part in that piping also. The last one is the trading and services sector, which is mostly of sales and customer support type of things. Among these three, people who are entering into manufacturing sector will have a good future without any, with less fear, I can say, not without any fear of job security, with less fear compared to the other two sectors. In Qatar, we have three types of companies. Like one is government or public limited companies, where with minimum of 5 years experience only, you can join in a good positions. If you join with lesser experience, you will land up in a lower grade jobs like field operators or panel operators, which is not good for your growth and also for the perks and amenities. So you should always get some minimum basic experience, like what Kanakasabai said, 7 to 8 years or around 10 years, and land up in a position with a good position like engineers or supervisors. You should not land up in field operators type of jobs. Growth rate is very low. Like he said, design engineer joined will be there as a design engineer for 8 years. But I will say the other way, like engineer joined as engineer will retire as engineer also sometimes. Like I am here in process engineering, this department for the last 20 years in the same position. The growth rate is near to 0 here. Unless otherwise you get a opening because of the seniors, your lead engineer or a department head retires or moves out of the country, likewise only. Still, the locals will try to occupy the manager and above posts. So when you join, you should join as an engineer and above, or a shift supervisor level at least. You should not join as a field operator or a panel operator, because the growth rate is very low here and shift positions are not good for having good family life. And the other one is mid-range companies, like your engineering companies, where your jobs are based on projects, like 2 years, 3 years. Based on the projects the engineering companies get, it will be accordingly. And there are small range companies, like with less experience also, you can get into these jobs in small range companies, but the security of the job as well as the growth will be very, very less. The perks and emoluments also will not be that attractive. The tips, when you want to come to Gulf, I want to give some tips for you people. Minimum experience required is 4 to 5 years to get a respectable job. If you come with a lower experience, the job will not be that good. In Gulf, we have senior or intermediate levels. For better prospects, a graduate engineer with 5 or 6 years experience, he should join only in senior level. Then his status of senior level will give him good perks and emoluments, because the cost of schooling and other things are all little higher when compared to India. But when you join as a senior level, these are all will be taken care by the company itself. No need to put from your pocket. So this is a important thing you should consider while coming to Gulf. With less experience, if you come, then you will join in a less reputed company where your job security will be less, as well as your emoluments will be less. So, and also when you join a manufacturing company, frequent job change is not advisable, because they give a better prospects when you continue in the same company with the same position. But when you are in projects, this is not possible. Maybe because of the 2 to 3 years of experience, your projects will be completed. Then you have to change. But in those changes, there will be growth rate, and you have to see a growth always is there. Otherwise, there is no job change is advisable. When compared to India, the growth opportunities are not at all here. So select properly at the first instance. So when you are coming here, you should come as an engineer minimum or a supervisor level. But don't be in a hurry to come here within 3 to 4 years experience. Better get good experience in India, in good positions there, and then you can come here. In anywhere, even in India or in Gulf, dedication and learning attitude is a key for success. So always learn. Your learning attitude should never stop. Your innovativeness should be there in whatever job you are doing. Basically, here people say it is difficult to get job. It is the other way also true. Employers are finding very difficult to get a right candidate for the right job. There are a lot of, when they look for a process engineer, experience of 6 or 7 years from India, they don't get a proper experienced person. So employers also struggling to get a right candidate. So it's not like jobs are not available. Jobs are there, but you have to be a right candidate for the right job. So apply to the job based on your experience. Don't deviate. Don't apply for any jobs which are available in the Gulf. Whatever experience you have, if you have worked as an operation engineer, apply for an operation engineer post. If you have worked as a process engineer, apply for a process engineer post. Like that. Don't change your experience just to get a job. And there are offshore and onshore jobs. Offshore jobs has its own risk factors. You have to consider all those things. Basically, you have to do a SWOT analysis whenever you apply for a job. With the present, wherever you are working with the present, what are the strengths, weakness, and what are the strengths you are going to get when you are going to change a job. All those things you have to do. Here, Gulf, mainly it is for money. It's not for positions. If my friends who have worked with me in Reliance, now they are working as vice presidents, whereas I am here working as an engineer only. So here, it is mainly money and not the positions. I'll just touch upon the scenarios in petrochemical sector. Now, job opportunities are dull because of these COVID restrictions. Everywhere, the downstream industries are not working. So, petrochemicals are also reduce their production capacities. But new projects are also not coming. But this sector is always cyclic. Based on experience, if you see every 5 years or 6 years, this ups and downs will be there. So hopefully by 2022, that is like next year, it should start rising and it should peak by 2025. This is good for the present final year graduates, because you can have 4-5 years of experience in India. With that experience, then you can come when the job sector is peaking in Gulf by 2025 time. In Qatar, also the same scenario. The new projects are having a setback due to COVID, as well as Qatar is hosting FIFA World Cup 2022. Because of this, there will not be any petrochemical new projects coming up. But this, after the World Cup, this scenario will change, and we'll have a lot of job opportunities in Qatar after that. In Qatar, if you want to reach for a job, companies actually reach the employees by job agents in India are through personal references only. There are no other things. None of the companies take money from the employees for their employment. So if somebody is saying that you will get a visa for you for getting a job in Gulf countries, this is true for all Gulf countries. By paying money, then that agent is not a true person. So be careful in all those things. Don't. None of the companies here in Gulf take money from the employees. All initial expenses, whatever you meet there, like for your medical or for any interviews, you go to different cities, all the costs will be taken care by the employees as a reimbursement. So wait until you receive a proper call from a proper company before quitting the present job. Because some people, what they do, as soon as they get a job in Gulf, get attracted and they quit the present job. This is a very wrong decision sometimes. Because in Gulf, your visa process is more important than employment. Once you get employment, it doesn't mean that your visa is going to get approved. For many reasons, it can get rejected. And also, medical examination of the country, it is not the requirement of the company, it is a requirement of the country, where they do certain diseases are filtered. So people who are having like tuberculosis, those type of things will not be allowed to enter the country. So until the medical examination is completed, your visa is stamped in passport, don't ever quit the existing job. This is a advice I want to give for the people who want to come to Gulf. All the best for budding engineers. This is my contact details. Anytime you can contact me for any queries. I'm always available. And we can take the question and answer session. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Once again, thank you, Magendra. It's an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Ashok.
Thank you, sir. Your words are inspiring us. Now we move to question and answering session. Sir, I got first question. Purpose of establishing a fact. I request Mr. P. Senthil sir to answer this question.
Can you repeat the question? I am unable to get it.
No, Senthil, he is asking about OPEC, OPEC.
OPEC? What?
OPEC, no? Oil producers, I think it's in
Exporting countries.
Yeah,
okay. What is asking with respect to that?
Ashok.
What is the question exactly?
Sir, purpose of establishing OPEC.
Okay, that is, I mean, for us, it is has nothing to do with us. That is the purpose of the oil producing countries. They will determine the market level and production level and all. So for that purpose, it is done.
Maybe I can just add. It's basically constitution of the countries who produce oil. So they meet to decide on how much production they want to give or how much they want to cut, depending upon the world market scenario and the oil prices. They really basically try to control the oil market. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, sir. Sir, second question. Controlling body behind oil and gas sector. Any one of the speaker, please answer this question, sir.
Ashok, your question, can you please repeat?
Controlling body behind oil and gas sector.
No. See, his question is there any single body that controls the entire oil and gas sector?
No, I don't think so. We are controlled by the codes and standards, which are by the normal. No, I don't get the question. Is it for the design or working or for marketing? What is it? If you say it is marketing, it is OPEC which is controlling the thing, which is already been told.
See, in India, there is a Director General of Hydrocarbons. So for the E&P license and other purpose, that is the government agency which decides on the strategies, you can say. So that body is available. If I'm,
I think no. The question is also to do more with the oil prices, like who fixes the oil prices. I think the context can be something like that.
It is the same OPEC.
Okay.
The production and the cost, the market price is fixed by them only. That's why they have this coordination among the countries. Sometimes you can see that Russia is not cooperating and Iran is not cooperating. That's why the prices goes down. During the COVID session, I think in the first quarter of 2020, it went to negative also, the oil price. Basically, all these prices are production and prices are controlled by OPEC.
Yeah. Ashok, what is the next question?
Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, third question, preparation tips for interviews and how to write the exam, sir. I request Mr. Kanakasabai to answer this question, sir.
Ashok, can you come again? What's the question?
Preparation tips for interviews and how to write, how to crack the exam, sir.
So basically, to rephrase, Sabai, so what kind of technical knowledge a fresh graduate should have? Apart from, is it only the academics that matter, or do they need to know more also?
Yeah. I would say in present day scenario, the companies who are recruiting the fresh graduates, it's not only the technical knowledge or what you score as a score in your final semester as an overall score. That only matters. What matters is your attitude, is the way you're ready to accommodate, ready to you're flexible. That there is various factors which are tested nowadays. It's not only your technical knowledge. Technical knowledge is a part. Probably it's tested in your written exam or something, but the rest of it is all in your personal interviews, on how you react to the situation, how willing are you to attack the problems, what is your problem solving skill abilities. So I would say it's more towards the employers and the companies are going more towards other characteristics of people they're employing, which would really improve their technical skills. Always you can keep improving the technical skills, and there is no end to it. You can keep learning and you can enhancing your technical skills. That's one part. The second part is more towards the other skills, which naturally you need to have you need to develop, basically.
Thank you, sir. Sir, fourth question. What kind of technical knowledge a fresh graduate should have to get a job with any of the companies or contracting companies?
I think that is what he answered now, Ashok.
Sorry, sir.
You can go to the next question.
Sir, where to look for companies in oil and gas sector to apply for a job?
Specifically in India, to start with us, many people here are India. I mean, fresh graduates. Senthil, or any of you can help.
See, as far as Reliance is concerned, as I mentioned earlier, briefly during my talk, they do it through the campus interviews only. So through our college placement cell, we can get in touch with our HR placement department, and accordingly further actions we can work on that. For other industries, as I mentioned, like the major PSUs like ONGC, Indian Oil Corporation, they conduct the screening through the GATE score. You have to appear for the particular year. Suppose every year they take the, I'm talking specifically for the fresh engineering graduates. So they have to clear the current year GATE. Based on that GATE score, you need to apply. They will screen the candidates based on the GATE score. Then they will do the further qualification for the taking the fresher. And in majority of the PSUs, there is no lateral entry. You have to start from some of the industry, they call it as the management trainee, or some of the industry, they call it as the graduate engineer training. So from that level up to the level of directors, you can move in this organization. There is no limit on that part.
Okay. Now, then what about the other contracting companies or smaller companies? I mean, where to look for that? So is there again, we go to Naukri or those kind of sites to apply, or what is your?
Yes. For others, generally, we have to look for the job advertisements, and through that we can apply and get.
I think more has got. I think this is where more comes into references. See, where if you're known to someone, and that would help a lot. That's where this LinkedIn, creating a profile in LinkedIn and getting connected to people, it helps a lot. So probably that will also help. Well, I'm talking about smaller companies, like where you could get a reference, where you can get a break, get into the company. Because the difference in the way the company is approached, say, for example, like Senthil Kumar said, the bigger companies like Reliance, PSUs, they have a very structured way they take these trainees, from the, maybe it might be a 1 year or a 2 year program where they go through the various aspects and then they are put into the right position. Whereas when you look at the smaller companies, it's not that much structured. You are led to learn by yourself. You need to, make your own efforts to learn. So to crack into these companies, I think references would really help a lot.
So to summarize what you said, Sabai, basically even the students, they should create a good profile of themselves in the LinkedIn.
Absolutely. If you go in on LinkedIn, you would see there is a lot of graduates, final year graduates, or just who have graduated. You could see their profiles and what they're, they express themselves on what they are capable of and what they're interested in, and they try to get connected to people who are coming from the same university, who are their seniors, or so that helps a lot. Really, that helps a lot.
Okay.
Mahendra, as I said earlier, for Gulf-based jobs, freshers don't get a chance. But when you get a 4 or 5 years experience, you can look into advertisements in NRI Times, which is exclusively for Gulf jobs, and also in other dailies where you can see the overseas vacancies,
job opportunities. Okay.
Job opportunities. And the NRI Times is a very good one for Gulf jobs. So after getting 4 or 5 years of experience, people should look into that and see the relevant experiences. With their experiences, whatever opening is there, they can apply them.
So NRI Times, is it an online thing, or it's a paper?
It's a paper. Earlier it was a paper. Now I think both version is available.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Ashok, over to Ashok for the next question.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we see. So how to get job in Reliance? Can you guide us, sir?
Can you repeat? I think your net got stuck in between. So can you repeat the question again?
Sorry, sir. Sir, we see all three of you have working in Reliance. So how to get job in Reliance? Can you guide us, sir? I request first Mr. R. Murali, sir. You are open on this, sir.
Actually, with your present experience only, you get into a lateral entry. As Senthil said, Reliance takes people as a freshers, but lateral entry is depending on their new projects you can get based on your experience. Since I was working in SPIC, that was a good platform to enter into Reliance. So that's why I got the job actually there. Freshers should always look into the campus interviews, and the normally Reliance, I think it is now through campus interviews only. Correct, Senthil?
Yeah, I'll just add on that. Yes, for what I said is in PSUs, lateral entry is not allowed. Of course, in Reliance, we have the lateral entry for some of the positions. That you can apply through the online portal. Whenever there are any vacancies, normally we try to fill it through our internal job advertisement. So we have a number of industries within Reliance. So through the internal, we try to fill it out. If it is not possible, if you are not getting a suitable candidate, then it will be posted in the Reliance website. So that time lateral entry is possible in Reliance.
I think to add to that, I think as Sabai said, in LinkedIn also nowadays a lot of advertisements come right now. So once you are enrolled in LinkedIn and you are looking for these jobs, I think automatically you will get job alerts from various companies.
Yes. If I find something is suitable for a particular candidate, I can refer it to that person also. That way also it is possible. A reference is possible for that.
Yeah.
See, the job market works this way. You know, when there is an opening, the guy, the employer or sort of an agent really goes into some of these databases like Naukri Gulf, and they just filter out based on the keywords. Like say, if you're looking for a piping engineer, they just type piping and say 10 years experience. And then from the database, it just throws you out 300 resumes. So from that, they start filtering out. Similar is a resource which is online available in LinkedIn. So people just, if you're, people just looking for the profiles which are suitable. They can make a search. There are various categories of subscription in LinkedIn. So if you're on an employer category subscription, you have a complete access to all the database in LinkedIn, where you can really look for a suitable profile which you think is will be suitable. So that's how it works. So it's as good as a job website.
For job seekers, I want to tell one piece of advice, particularly for freshers. When you are making a profile in these type of websites like LinkedIn or elsewhere, you put all your plus points only in that. Like if you are for a chemical engineers, if you are good in Aspen software, only if you are good, you put that Aspen software. Don't put all relevant to your subject and add everything. Because when they are filtering and they are looking for candidates, if your profile says Aspen experienced person, and if I interview you and if you are not able to talk about Aspen, then it will be a total rejection. So don't add where you don't have expertise in that field. So in your profile, put all your expertise only in the profile. Yes, Ashok.
Thank you, sir. Sir, last question. Nowadays, we see many of our immediate seniors switch job within 2 years or less to get better salaries. What is your comment on this, sir? In this long run, in this good?
As I said in my presentation earlier, shifting job is only good when there is a growth. Like if you are working as a process engineer and if you are experienced well in that field within that 2 years and you are more confident to shift, then only you have to do it. Otherwise, shifting frequent jobs is not good for career growth.
Employers see this as a I myself, when I try to recruit somebody for my projects, I certainly see if somebody has shifted jobs every year or every second year. I don't see him as a candidate who has got a great attitude. It's not that just for a small hike of salary you just keep changing jobs. You need to settle down in a job and probably learn a little bit, contribute, and then probably when you're in a position wherein you think that you're good enough to change jobs, or your career growth within the present setup is very limited, which you cannot achieve anything more, then you start about thinking about moving out. So it's always it's not a great thing to switch jobs every year or every second year.
Okay, so another question to all three of you. After Annamalai, I'm sure you would have. You are all working in different companies. Like, how do you see that? The exposure or your studies in Annamalai has helped you. Do you see when you compare? You would have seen peers from various other colleges as well. So, can you just tell the current students the importance of it in a few words?
What I would like to say is, basically, Annamalai University as a university has got a very good name. Even it is recognized in many of the universities or establishments within Middle East. See, for example, nowadays things are becoming very strict in Middle East, that they scrutinize your degree certificate. They want to get it stamped, endorsed by government authorities and all those things. Then only they really consider is as acceptable. Even some of the countries, they have their own setup of associations where again they go through an interview process to really endorse you as an certified engineer to continue. So certainly, studying in Annamalai University has helped us a lot. It is knowledge wise, it has given us I'm really proud to say that I'm today what I am is all because of what university has provided to me. So certainly it has got a great name, and I'm sure every student should be proud of it who is studying. Yeah. So that's what my take is.
Just a minute, I will add my experience. After joining Reliance, I was with a lot of IIT people also working along with me. I never felt I am like less than them. Annamalai has given us all courage and boldness to compete with IITs also in the industry field. So budding engineers should not worry about we are going to work with IITs, all those type of things. Annamalai has given us all required knowledge to work with them also.
Yes, I would also like to add on that, like whatever the infrastructure we had, our professors. So that is one of the best one, I think, because I have interacted with, again, a lot of people from all over India, other universities. And as well, many of the people know Annamalai University. When we say Annamalai University, people could recognize that. So our university has a place everywhere in the country, I can say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for this extensive section and your valuable time to guide us on the career opportunities in oil and gas sector. Now, our Dean, Dr. Murugan, will share his concluding remarks. Please, sir.
So, very good afternoon. So, let me first express my sincere thanks to the three speakers today. Mr. Senthil Kumar who did his electronics and instrumentation from our university. Mr. Kanakasabai, who did his mechanical engineering, and Mr. Murali Murugan, who did his chemical engineering. So thank you to the three stalwarts for sharing their experience and the opportunities in the oil and gas sector for the budding engineers. And so the message maybe for the students, from what I could join only by 12:20 or 12:25, Sorry that I could not join in the beginning because of the official commitments. So in fact, what is the requirement, the basic requirement for entering into the public sector and private sector companies in oil and gas? And this GATE examination is one avenue which the students can concentrate, of course, not in the 11th hour. In fact, they should start at least from the second year, if not in the first year. They should start and building up the technical knowledge and working out the previous GATE question papers. So they become very solid and they become very strong in the technical know-how with regard to the various courses that is offered in the particular program, so that they stand a good chance. So they can write GATE, they can go for higher studies, they can go for, as the speakers pointed out, they can get into the public sector undertakings. So in fact, this requires, in fact, if you put up a teamwork, that is a group study, right? Then definitely, if suppose so 4 or 5 are involved in the group study starting from the second year, maybe all the 4 may not get at least 2 or 3, right? Even if one gets into that's openings, it's a really great thing. So such kind of things should happen. And of course, the students should group themselves, right? And begin. Maybe I think today, maybe from next year onwards, I think we can think of this program as one speaker pointed out. I think I missed that particular day program. In fact, we should start from the second year onwards. In fact, these kind of programs should start from the second year and then move on till the final year, so that those students will also be inspired, right, to write GATE examination. Even for the final years, it is not too late, right? They would have completed the GATE examination just now, because it is this is the GATE. This February 2nd week is the GATE examination week, so they would have written. But still, even after completing the degree, they can even still wait for 1 year before they get the job. If they get the job, let them join, so they can apply for the jobs, and then they can also prepare, right, without wasting the time for these GATE examinations, and sit for the next session, that is 2022, GATE 2022, and still they can they have a bright chance to enter into such public sectors. So with this, once again, I profusely thank all the 3 speakers, Mr. Senthil Kumar, Mr. Kanakasabai, and Mr. Murali Murugan, for taking their time out from the busy schedule and sharing their experience and valuable points with our students. So thank you. And again, I thank Mr. Mahendra Kumar, Mr. Gobi, Mr. Sivashankar, and all those of the 92 batch